Hello everybody, this is Mary Rathke from Blessed Bees. Welcome to my bee yard. It's a bit of a mess today, but that's all right. We're enjoying this warm weather. Now, full disclosure, do not recommend being out among bees without a veil and without a suit. I am just a little different than most. So today I wanted to introduce you to one of my hives and kind of answer some questions. I started to beekeep a few weeks ago and I had done a lot of research ahead of time and I've been getting lots of questions. So one of my neighbors had come by the other day and had asked if these bees were locally from around here and then just like came over once I put a queen in the box. So the answer to that is no. Now there could be what they call drift, where a few bees locally may have come over and kind of joined up with them, but that is not where the majority of these bees have come from. The majority of these bees, probably all of them, have come from the eggs that the queen has laid. So the average bee during the summertime lives about 30 days. They're born. They kind of hang out for a while inside. They work as nurse bees. They grab the honey that has come in and some of the pollen, and they mix that together, make bee bread, what they call it, and then feed that to the larvae that's developing and take care of the queen. Then eventually they kind of grow up, stretch their wings out, and they head out and they become worker bees out there in the fields, bringing in pollen, bringing in nectar, which they fan down, and that turns into honey. And then the cycle continues with the queen continuously staying in here laying eggs. So inside of a hive box, you have these things called frames. Here's a frame. This is just a regular old frame with a plastic insert. Kind of got the grid on it. I've kind of rubbed some different things on it to kind of make it appealing. Now, once they decide they need more room, what they'll do is they'll take that honey and the resources they have and they'll build up wax. And they'll make those little comb, little areas where the queen then can go in there and either lay eggs, or the worker bees can store their pollen, they can store their nectar, which they turn into honey. Now this is a frame that I purchased ahead of time, so the wax was already kind of put on there and formed into cells so that they can come along and use it for storage. Now these are capped off. Now they will cap off honey, but this is not honey. This is full of brood. And I don't know how close up you can see. They actually have what they call queen cups, where they've made extra larger cells on the edges of this, so that way if the queen were to lay an egg in there, they would feed that the royal jelly, and she would exclusively get that. She would grow up a lot bigger than the average worker bee, and then she could be the queen that goes on. Now I'm looking on here, every time I pull this out, I'm looking for the queen. I want to make sure that my queen is here, that she's healthy, that she's laying eggs, and I don't see her on this particular frame, but I do see some eggs and some larvae in here, so I'm pretty sure she's around and she's okay. You might think, well, why are they making queen cups? Well, sometimes they just do that. They just want to make sure they have some available if needed. And normally if it's like an emergency or supersede your cells, you know, they might be a little bit different. Sometimes you'll see them down on the edges, but this is full of a lot of brood. A lot of it's capped over, and they all look pretty happy and content this side. So you can see this is what it looks like when you get it. There's nothing going on quite yet there. So okay, we got one frame here, brood. Next to it is a frame that came with the original nuke that I had purchased. So it's an older frame. You see it's going to be more discolored. And let's see what we got going on here. Let's see, can you see this? See, it's a little bit darker. The more times they lay eggs and have brood in there, the darker it'll get. So this is brood also. You have some here that's capped. Oh, an old queen cup there. Now, again, I'm looking for is the queen. The queen looks a little bit different than the workers. She's a lot longer. Ooh, there's one emerging. Oh, little bee's emerging from itself. My particular queens have been marked. So, what was this? Was this an Italian? Let's look. It's an Italian, which means I marked it with blue because she came unmarked. I do have a few other queens that I purchased that I paid extra to have marked, and so they're marked in red because that's the proper color for this year. I didn't have a red marker, so I marked my Italians in blue. So don't tell anybody that I did it wrong, okay? So I'm looking for a bee, longer in the torso. The wings don't kind of come down quite as far as they would in proportion to these bees. And she's going to have some blue on her. And I don't see her on this frame, but I am loving what I am seeing. So I've got, at this point, 3 sides of frames with brood. That is good. All right, I'll put that down. I'll move on to the next one. Now people ask me, well, Mary, how come they're not stinging you? Well, they're not going around in life looking for somebody to sting. You might not know this, but if they sting you, they die. Once that stinger goes in you, it kind of rips out their torso and they are done. So they're only going to do that if they really feel threatened. And thankfully, I don't make them feel like a threat. Now this was a piece of frame with a plastic yellow comb in there. This came with the nucleus when I purchased it, and the wax wasn't quite built up quite as high. But see, they're working on this. And let's see where they got in here. It looks like they got some pollen they're packing in here, maybe some nectar up along the top here. And oh, there's some drones. The drones are the boy bees. You have to have a few boys, right? Boys and girls got to get together. And the drones are born. They do not have a stinger. They don't really work hard. They don't do much for the colony. They just kind of hang out. They eat the resources. And they go to the bachelor pad, which is a certain spot a few miles away at a certain altitude, and they hang out waiting for a new queen that has just been born that's looking to hook up and fill up her abdominal with some. She's got lots of eggs in there. She wants to get them all fertilized, and then she comes back, and then now for the next 4 years, she's got enough fertilized eggs to last. But once that drone mates with her, he dies. He's done. And so what's really interesting is in the fall, the bees are like, hey, we're getting ready for winter. We only got so much resources here, and these drones are not helping. And so they'll actually start kicking them out. They'll sometimes kill them. And so you see a lot of drones now. Oh boy, this is another one of those better comb, but you won't see as many in the winter months. So they, again, the queen came through here and she laid some eggs. They fed those larvae, they took care of them, and then they capped them over when they get to a certain point. We have a lot of capped brood up here, not a lot, we have some. And then they will wait until, now look at here, now we have a lot more over here. So this frame actually has a lot of pollen on the edges. Can you see that dark yellow around the edges there? And then the center is where they lay the egg. Now you might be questioning, well, why do they want all that pollen? And they mix it in again with some of the nectar and honey near the brood. Well, that is what they're using to feed them. So they want to keep everything, you know, close by. Now I haven't really been super paying attention. That one frame there kind of had like almost a double layer of bees. Usually I can blow on them and get them to move around a little bit and look for the queen. I have not found the queen, but I am seeing so much activity here that I am sure she is in here. All right, we've got one more frame that has a lot of bees on it. So let's see. Now out of all of my hives, I started off and I kind of separated them out. So I really just started off with a queen and maybe 1 or 2 frames of brood and some resources. But at this point, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames full of either brood or resources. So I'm super glad about that. Now this hive does have a lot of just plain drawn or not undrawn frames, and I purchased some more of that better comb just because I knew I kind of, you know, took a lot of their resources away when I split everything. And so rather than them have to use all that energy to make these up, I'm going to throw some more better comb in here for them and see if that helps them expand a little bit quicker. It's a lot easier for that queen just to hop over and start laying her eggs, or for them to like start putting their resources in there. Oh my gosh, this is the heavy one. I forgot about this one. This one's got a lot of honey. Honey, honey, honey. Everybody loves the honey. So this colony is nice because when I got all of that, those frames from purchasing a nucleus colony from the bee people, I had a few, not a lot, but a few of these with full honey frames. So this particular hive was very fortunate because they got that. So, all right, just wanted to give you a quick update, kind of answer a few of those basic questions I know people have been asking me. I'm gonna look through here one more time, double check about the queen, throw in some better comb, and take out some of those plain frames. Give them a few little extra things I have that will help them hopefully in producing a lot more brood, and hopefully I'll give you an update soon. Thanks, bye-bye.